Hey, hi friends, this is Varun Goda. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss on what is generative AI and a few examples of generative AI. What is generative AI? Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence system which helps us to generate a new content. A new content in the sense the new content can be text, image, audio, video, or the code. Here, code means the software code I'm talking about. Let's take the example. Dhoni is the best. When I read this sentence, Dhoni is the best, the next word that comes to my mind is a captain. You might be thinking it as wicket keeper. Another one might be thinking it as a best batsman, right? How we are getting to know Dhoni is the best captain or a wicket keeper or a batsman, right? Because we have the knowledge of Dhoni and the cricket in the past, correct, right? We are having the knowledge of the Dhoni and the cricket so that we can able to say Dhoni is the best captain or a wicket keeper or a best batsman or a best finisher, correct, right? Similarly, there is a Gen AI model, let's say Gen AI model. We want this Gen AI model to predict output as Dhoni or a wicketkeeper or a batsman. If I give this sentence, if I give Dhoni as a best as an input to this Gen AI model, it should able to generate an output. It can be Dhoni as a best captain or a wicket keeper or best batsman, right? With different confidence score, or you can say it as a probability distribution. Sorry, different probability score. Correct, right? How can we make this Gen AI model to give this output if we give an input as Dhoni is the best, correct, right? It should able to take this sentence as an input and it should give an output as captain or a wicket keeper or a batsman or a finisher, correct, right? This can be done by by training the Gen AI model. What do you mean by training here? Correct, right? Training in the sense the process of which we got the knowledge about Dhoni and the cricket, right? Means that we have learned the process, the learning process itself is called as a training here. Training in the sense here for the Gen AI model, using this training process, it used to get the knowledge of the outside world. Knowledge of the outside world in the sense it can be about the cricket or the Dhoni, or it can be about the football, or it can be anything related to the technology. What and all the data are going to feed on the data, this model will be get trained to gain the knowledge about the data which we have given as input to the generative AI model. Input to the model can be for the training, it can be tens and thousands of TB of data. This data can be from different sources. In order to get these tens and thousands TBs of data, we should get this data from some sources, right? The source can be Wikipedia, online websites, many more. All this data, which is of tens and thousands TBs of data from different sources, has been fed into the generative AI model during the pre-training stage. For the training, during that phase, it will learn, it will learn and gain the knowledge about the outside world. Correct, right? After doing this pre-training on the tens and thousand TBs of data, if I ask this question to Gen AI model, it should able to give an output. It can be captain or batsman with different probability, probabi, probability score. Correct, right? The next example is like image related. Let's say you are an costume designer uh, and you're having a client. He comes and you ask, he asks you to generate or he asks you to design new design for him. Correct, right? If you're a costume designer, you would be having the knowledge of the costumes and the designs that are currently available in the market, so that with that knowledge, you can able to generate a new costume design for your client. Correct, right? Similarly, if you want the Gen AI model to do, correct, right? If you want your Gen AI model to generate an image of the new design so that you can use that new design image and design a costume for your client, you as you have the knowledge so that you can able to create a new design for your client, but it will take, let's say, 10 days, 10 days of time. But if the same knowledge has been gained by the Gen AI model, it can give the same result. Let's say the initial draft of the design within within few within few minutes to hours, right? How do you make your Gen AI model to give the draft uh, of the new design? You can do that by training your Gen AI model on hundreds and thousands of image data, which is having different designs. If you fed this information into the Gen AI model for the training purpose in the pre-training stage, so that it have gained the knowledge from all these hundreds and thousands of image data, using that knowledge, it should able to give an image of the new design within few minutes to a few hours. Correct, right? What it has done, if you want to create a draft of that, it would have been taken the 10 days. But with Gen AI, you have improved the time from 10 days to few minutes to few hours. Initial draft is ready for you for the costume design. Correct, right? Similarly, we'll take another example. We'll take another example. Uh, let's say you wanted to solve a new coding problem. New coding problem. If you want to solve any of the new coding problem, you should have previ previously previously solved lot of problems, right? If you want to solve a new coding problem, you should be previously solved a lot of coding problems before. Using that knowledge, you can able to solve the new coding problem which comes up. Correct, right? Without doing this, in the sense without learning, you can't able to solve the new coding problem. Similarly, if you train in Gen AI model on the data, here the data can be from the data is the problem and their solution coding solution data from different coding platforms. It can be lead code, gigs for gigs, hacker earth, any of the coding platform. You collected all this data and you fed into a GenAI model for the training. During the pre-training stage, it has learned all these things, all the problems, statements, and the solutions. Using this data, it has learned few patterns, right? If you give the new problem statement to the GenAI model, as you have learned these many problem statement by solving yourself, the new problems comes up, so that using this knowledge you can able to solve the correct problem statement, right? Similarly, it will use the previous knowledge which is got trained, which it got learned during the training stage. Using that knowledge, it can able to solve the current problem statement or the new problem statement. I got it, right? These three examples. One is text related, one is image related. This is also text related, but it's more optimized optimized for coding. Correct, right? Uh, Now you got some idea about what is Gen AI. Gen AI is nothing but a Gen AI model which generates a new content for us. Internally, there is lot of things will be there. For example, I can say there will be attention mechanism and MLP, multi-layer perceptron, and different matrix were there, key matrix, query matrix, value matrix, and all. We'll see, we'll learn about this in our future sessions. As of now, think this Gen AI is a black box which will be got trained on tens and thousands of TBs of data from different data sources like Wikipedia, online websites, online contents, online books, and all. Using that knowledge, when you give an input to this GenAI model, it should be able to generate a new content for you. Correct, right? Uh, just I wanted to give an heads up what we are going to discuss in the next session. This Gen AI comes up around in 2022 or 23, right? After that only we can able to uh, uh, solve this generating the new content. Correct, right? Generating the new content problem. Correct, right? 2022 or 23, the chat GPT came from the OpenAI, so that it makes us to generate a new content. Let's take an example like if you want to write an essay before 2022, it will be a difficult task, right? On the topics which you are not much aware of. But now, if you give an chat GPT uh, about you want an essay on any of the topic, the essay will be ready in few seconds, right? But here in 2022 and 23, it got boomed. This Gen A field got boomed. But before this, let me rub this. Before this, because this generative AI model all are based on transformer architecture based. This generative AI became boomed in 2022 or 2023, but before that, in 2017 only, this transformer based architecture was introduced by Google in the research paper called attention all you need. Correct, right? From 2017 to 2022, there was there was a model called transform based models, but they couldn't able to scale up to the extent what we have is as ChatGPT now. Correct, right? You can say it as ChatGPT is a very much scaled up version, because in 2017 only Google has introduced a transform based architecture. Using this architecture, we can able to solve the problem called generating the generating the new content generating the new content. But this was not scaled in terms of compute and the other things. When in 2022 ChatGPT came, everything got changed, right? Yeah. For all this, whatever the ChatGPT or the Gemini, any other LLM models you're seeing now, for all this, the base is transformer, transformer architecture. In our future sessions, we'll see in depth about transformer architecture. As of now, think this Gen AI is a black box which is having multiple things inside it. Now treat as a black box which is got trained on the 10 centimeters of data from the outside world. During pre-trained stage, it has gained knowledge of all this data. When you ask a new question to this Gen AI model, it can able to generate a new content for you. Correct, right? Uh, before these things comes, right? Uh, Before these things comes, there are different NLP techniques were there. NLP techniques, in the sense, natural language processing techniques were there. These techniques were able to able to solve like the classical problem statements called sentiment analysis and spam detection, but it couldn't able to solve the problems like generating a new content. I'm talking about before this architecture, transform based architecture comes into the picture, right? Before that, there are few NLP techniques were there, but they can able to solve only the classical problem statements like sentiment analysis, spam detection, and all. But it couldn't able to solve the problem statement like generating the new content. Why it couldn't able to solve the new content? Because give me a second. Because it couldn't able to retain the context. Correct, right? For example, we take the first example which we talked, right? Dhoni is the best dash. Before that, there might be another sentence called uh, cricket is the one of the cricket is one of the favorite sports in India. After that, the sentence comes. If you just give a word best and ask the GenAI model to or any model to predict the next word without having this context knowledge, of course, it couldn't able to generate the next word, right? In order to generate a next word, we should have the knowledge of the previous context, in the sense previous what and all the data we have, right? Here the previous data is cricket is one of the favorite sports in India, and Dhoni is the best cricketer or best finisher or best wicket keeper or the best captain, right? In order to predict that word, only the word best is not enough. It should retain the context of all the sentence so that it can generate a meaningful next word. Retaining the context was lacking in the previous NLP techniques. That is why all the other NLP techniques couldn't able to solve the problem statement generating a new content. But when in 2017 this transformer based architecture came into picture, there are few models that got developed like BERT, GPT 1, 2 and all. These are all not scaled up to the extent that can be used by everyone. But when GPT-3 comes and GPT Chat GPT comes, then the entire GenAI field uh, got boomed. You got it right? Yeah, that's it for today's session. We'll catch up in the next session and we'll learn more about how this Chat GPT transformer works, what is exactly the pre-training, and what is exactly the pre-training, and there are techniques called fine tuning, learning through human feedback. All these things were there. We learn about these things in our future sessions. Yeah, thank you.